He's Metz. He's Tass. It's the Metzger Tassoul Show.
Hello, Mr. Shane Tassoul.
Hello, Mr. Mike Metzger. Are we live?
I can't hear you. Hold on.
That's him.
Oh, is that on your end? Are you muted, Tass?
I don't think so. Can you hear me?
No. So, folks, we've been having some technical difficulties today.
How about now?
Nope, can't hear anything, Tass. I'm assuming you can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Anyway, how is everyone doing? Let's wait for some people to log on. Every time we do this show, it has been 10 years. It's not a show unless there's difficulties.
Not a true show.
On a true show. So
To overcome.
you may want to try to log in and log out again. Or actually, it's no different than any other show.
Don't show up at all. Yeah.
I'll just take it from here. All right. Hello, sir. Mr. Landis.
Is he still in town?
Are you still in town? And how was your visit to the schools? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts here.
Can you hear me now or not?
Yes, now we can hear you, Mr. Tassel.
Oh, very good.
So Mr. Landis just chimed in, and he's been in town. He sat in on some meetings, visited schools. So I just asked him if he was still in town and if he had visited some schools and,
Got it.
how it was. But anyway, how is everybody doing? Tass, how are you doing?
Listen, my computer is running extremely slow right now, so that's why I'm on my phone, and I have no idea what's going on. Like my Chrome is just bouncing off the bottom of the thing. Other than that, I'm fine, man.
Good. Still no weight on the leg, right?
No, 22 days, but who's counting?
Perry's laughing because we've had difficulties and I'm waiting to eat.
So there you go. Cheers. Bon appetit. Yeah, 22 more days, no weight in the leg. This industry stresses me out, so I just was able to take off my Holter monitor today. So I sent that in.
He's not joking. And Mr. Landis, I'm glad. I'd love to get feedback. Maybe we can connect, and I'd love to answer questions or just hear your feedback when we have an opportunity to do that. But anyway, so listen, we're talking about, you're right. The industry can stress a lot of people out, I think. And I don't know who watches the show. There's so many, but I know everybody that's in this industry, whether they're successful or not, has periods of stress.
Yep.
And some people are continuously in a period of stress and struggle each month. But 25% of the year is over. What do we do to have a record year? Are we sharing just to our office?
This is internal comms right now, everybody. That's all.
I mean, hello, Mr. Johnson. How are you?
Oh, man.
I mean, we're breaking records here.
That's right. Now we're speaking like the industry. Breaking records. You don't know what kind of records. We're breaking records.
So yeah, that's interesting. Oh, good. We're climbing. So look, at the end of the day, what do you do to have a record year? If your first 3 months, your first quarter, and then April, the first month of the second quarter, didn't go the way you want it. At the end of the day, if you're doing the same thing over and over, you got to change what you're doing. And this industry is built on culture and tradition. And sometimes that gets in the way of growth and adaptation. Whether you like to hear that or not, it's just the facts, right? I will say, I just got our numbers for April. I will tell you, last year we had a down year comparatively to the year before. And we started off January down. And the trajectory was just going down, but we had a phenomenal April, and our trajectory is now up. A lot of optimism on, you know, having a phenomenal year and and climbing to record years again and growth. Um, but we had to make some changes to how we do things, right? Because I talked about this a few months ago, or a month or two ago, when we talked about the industry struggling. It's not a debate, right? It's a fact. I mean, it's just some, the majority of the industry is struggling comparatively to what it was 2 years ago. It's just overall. Are some people having record years? Of course. Are some people thriving? Yes. But as an industry, we're down comparatively to a couple of years ago based on the billing company's feedback and sales with merchandise and Century and looking at all the numbers. So it's definitely a reality, but it doesn't have to be that way. That's the problem. That's the difference, right? So go ahead.
Are you flipping it to me now?
Yes, I'm done talking now. Thank you.
Ah, well,
Now
this is,
viewership will go up now that I'm done talking.
we are setting records for sure. That might have
Marianne,
been.
how are you? Go ahead.
We're setting records for sure. That might have been the shortest you've talked.
That's right. Mr. Levy, hi. Go ahead.
Hey, listen, there's some tactical stuff I think that people can do, right? But I don't know that tactical is necessarily what you need right now. It depends on where you're at. Listen, it's interesting. I say the industry, right? So I'm not, when I say the industry, I'm saying the industry collectively. So I'm not talking to, you specifically that are watching right now. But I will say, if the shoe fits, wear it. Um, but I think the first thing you have to do is you have to get real, and you have to get real with yourself, and you have to be honest with yourself. And sometimes what happens is, in dealing with martial arts school owners, well, you ask a question, you go to a tournament and you say, hey, how things going? Oh, things are great. How many students do you have? And they'll upgrade to the nearest 100, right? They'll have 126. They'll say, wow, we're 200 students. And I'm saying this as an exaggeration in some cases, but in other cases as a reality. And we try to paint this facade of how great we're doing, because naturally this industry is full of egos. And listen, that's fine if that's what you want to do, right? You collectively, not you specifically watching. But if you want to do that, that's okay. But just know that nobody cares. Nobody cares. And it doesn't affect anybody else's pocketbook when you embellish what your numbers are, whether that's your active count, whether that's how many enrollments you have, whether that's whatever it is that you're doing, right? The other thing I think is that a lot of times we tend to, number one, this industry tends not to track numbers because there's not a lot of business people in this industry. The business person is what happens second, right? I don't think there's many business people that say, hey, listen, I went to Harvard School of Business. I really want to open up a successful business. I'm going to choose martial arts as my path to do that, right? And I'm not saying that there's not brilliant people in this industry, but I think most of us have had a passion to do martial arts, and the business came secondary. And if we don't take care of the business, we can be on this roller coaster. And even when we do take care of the business, right? Metzger and I have had a lot of conversation recently about temporary, and temporary to some might mean a week. Temporary could be a day. Temporary could be 15 years. But there's things that are in this business that are temporary. And so here's what I would say. Metzger mentioned a big word earlier. I think he said trajectory, right? And he said their trajectory this year is going, this last quarter is going up. And so I would ask all of you on here, what is the trajectory of your business? Well, number one, you don't know that unless you, number one, track stats or go back and pull the numbers from your CRM and look at what they are and go, oh, yeah, we're trending up. But trending up compared to what? Number one, trending up compared to your friends, trending up compared to what you hear the industry is doing, trending up to the school down the street, trending up to, or having a trajectory going up compared to what you were first quarter of last year. But then within that, I would say this, well, what is it that you're trending up in? Because if you're using a measuring stick, and that measuring stick, as an example, is gross revenue, you may be misled because your gross revenue could absolutely be up for quarter one. But if you're not tracking other things in your business, like web leads, as an example, your marketing, right? Like your upgrades, taboo subject, like your enrollments, right? Like your renewals, like your attrition and or retention. If you're not tracking those other metrics and you're not watching those other things, you're getting a snapshot of, hey, we're doing better this year than we were last year financially. But what you don't understand maybe is that some of these other stats are lagging, and they're going, like, for example, gross revenue could be lagging. It could be up right now, but based off of these other metrics, we know with 100% certainty revenue may be going down in the next 6 months, or revenue is going to go up in the next 6 months. So you have to have all of the data. So in saying, like, hey, look, 25% of the year is over, what are we going to do moving forward? Right? You have to know where you are in all aspects and to know where you want to go and what's possible, right? I was just talking to a client, and their goal is they want to have 300 active students by the end of the year. First of all, I would say, why? Why is it? And the answer is, it just sounds nice, and that's what most of us do, right? We're not going to say I want 297 members. That's just not what we're going to do. So 300 was the number. Well, after we went through the attrition rate, and we went through, and which was not bad, by the way, and where they are currently and where they are with active student rate, it's a really tall order for them to get to that number of students by the end of the year. Ironically, the number of students they wanted and what their gross revenue goal also really didn't match based off of student value. I'm throwing some of these terms around, but my point in saying all of this is you have to and you must create a clear path to where it is that you're trying to go, because every effort that you're doing has to be moving you closer to that goal. And I think we all know that, but I just don't know if we all do that all the time, is my point. And so those are, just kind of mindset is, are you being honest with yourself? Because that's really all that matters, right? But it really rubs me the wrong way when I hear and see and listen to people embellish. And it's not hard after I ask a few questions to get the real answer, right? And so some of this is a facade. We got to get rid of that. That doesn't do us any good, because what it can do is it can fool your psyche and you really truly believe that you are in that spot. Now, listen, there's incantations and there's goal setting and there's positive affirmations and there's all the things. All of that's great, but that's different than telling yourself a lie, right? Telling yourself of where you're at right now, right? Those are all important things. So be honest with yourself. And I would suggest that you really, really look deep into the business. And if you don't understand what metrics or KPIs, key performance indicators, to track, I would suggest that you find those things out, because that's what's going to help you grow and get to the next level, right? And there's a lot of different factors that contribute to that. So that's the big takeaway, right? And we have to know and understand what got us to where we are today isn't going to get us to where we want to go. And in most cases, because I know someone will watch this and they'll replay it and they'll say, "Well, he was wrong." But in most cases, if you want a fun little party trick, what you do is you say, "Hey, go back and look at your active count for April of 2024." Now I'm going to look at my crystal ball. My guess is your active count is plus or minus 10 from the number you were at last year, right? And most, not all the time, there's exceptions. If you open a new school and you've been marketing, or maybe something happened and you got, last year you decided, look, we got to grow, and your focus changed. But for most people that get comfortable or complacent, they're within 10 students plus or minus where they were the previous month, the previous year during that month. And you can go back and you can look at it. And so the question is how frustrating is that, right? And it's just exhausting. You're like, man, we did all this work, we had all these enrollment, and we're the same number. So another question is, well, what are you going to do to make it to that next level, right? Because what got you from 0 to 100 isn't what got you from 100 to 150 or to 200, or maybe you're at 300 active now. Well, what got you to 300 isn't going to get you to 400, right? Because there's this natural attrition, there's marketing, there's all the things that happen. So those are just some different things to think about as reflecting back on the first quarter, really looking at all the numbers, and then determining, well, what can we do? What can we fix? The year is not over. We've got a lot of time to fix things, but what can we do for these next 3 quarters that are in front of us starting today?
Well, that's it. That you want to know the secret to make sure you have you're on track to have a record year or to continue growing is you got to have your next 3 quarters. We're in the second quarter, and then the 2 quarters after that. You got to plan it out and start with this. Make 3 columns, everybody: recruitment, retention, and revenue. And then just do a bird's eye view of what are we really going to do proactively to recruit in the second quarter, in the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter. And it's different because summer is different than back to school, which is different than going into the holidays in October, November, and December. But what are you going to do to recruit students proactively? What are we going to do differently or proactively to retain our students besides being lazy, saying we're going to teach fun and exciting classes, or we're going to, just say hello to everybody when they walk in the door? More than that, what are we doing proactively to retain the students that we have? And what are we going to do to generate extra revenue in our business, right? What values are you going to offer your customers to give them an opportunity to pay something extra to get whatever value you are offering? Whether that's a private lesson, a parents' night out, or a Black Belt Club program, whatever that is, list it out and then go through it. And this is exactly what we do in Maya with all of our clients. I mean, because it's individualized for everybody. Some of you might say, recruiting, I'm going to do more posting on social media. Well, that's great, but you got to learn from life lessons. Does that work for you? Like, is that a big return for you? How's that working? Because if you're in an area where it's just not working for you, well, you could do it and you should do it, but don't count on it. If it hasn't worked before, it may not work now. Now, maybe there's something different you're going to do or whatever, but there are definitely areas where certain marketing techniques work better than others. For example, we have schools in my elite that get the majority of their students from referrals. And then we have schools that really don't get a lot of students from referrals. So of course, we're still going to try to tweak, but I can't count on that to help me grow if it never worked before, unless I'm willing to make changes. And that's where we get stuck in culture, tradition, and habits. You got to be willing to make changes if you want to grow. The other thing I'm going to say is some of you, and we talked about this, are good enough. Some of you are good enough. You're making a decent wage. You're doing what you love. All your bills are getting paid, and it's good, right? So I don't necessarily want to do all the extra work that's not fun and exciting, the business side of the martial arts, because you're doing good enough. But as Tass said, that's temporary, right? Tassoul just had knee surgery. He can't put any weight on it for 6 weeks, 0 weight. Well, what if he was an owner-operator? No staff, no team. That would be tough. I mean, he'd have to wheel in, sit in a chair. Doctor said 0. He said it's extremely important, right? 0, right? Or it could be a much bigger surgery. Well, that's tough, right? So even if you're an owner-operator and you think everything's good, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be sick. You're going to be injured. You're going to be out. You're going to be tired. You're going to be 80. I mean, something's going to happen, right? Or if you have a team and you're like, no, my team's been with me for 10 years and, they're great. What do you pay them? $15 an hour. Well, how long are they going to work for $15 an hour? How many years? Or that could be $40,000 a year. Well, how many years are they going to work for $40,000 a year? Or maybe they're making $100,000 a year, but they're working till 9 o'clock every night, 9:30 every night. Well, how long do you think that most people are going to want to work every night till 9:30? Are there some out there? Absolutely. But it's the minority. It's the few. It's not the many, right? Where are they going in this career of theirs, right? A lot of it is temporary unless you get out of your own way and continue to scale to create better opportunities, not just for you, but for your people, or opportunities for future people that you don't even have yet, right? So, but here it is. Here's the answer. I mean, we can elaborate. But the answer is the first thing you have to do is have a plan and hold yourself accountable. And you got to make those 3 lists proactively. This is what I'm going to be doing to recruiting. I'm going to get focused, retention, and generating revenue. You get in that habit of being proactive and really focusing on those areas, tracking what gives you the best return for your time or money investment. And that's how you're going to start growing. But you have to identify things. If you have a retention issue, we got to identify why. Why do you have a retention issue? Where is it that you're losing your customers? Right? It's funny. I told you, Tess, didn't I tell you, or was I telling Perry? People, I talk about student value. We talk about student value. Some people say, well, what's student value? It's not a real number. Well, it is. I mean, it is a real number. I mean, so I went on ChatGPT and I just asked, I wanted to research just Mercedes-Benz corporate. Like, what is their average customer value? They sell cars for $35,000 up to $350,000 and beyond, right? But how do they know how much they should spend in marketing? If they market, how many people do they want coming through their doors? How many of those people make a purchase, right? And then based on all the people that buy a car from Mercedes, what is the average student value or customer value to them? What was interesting, their average profit per customer was like $35,000.
Right.
Average profit per customer based on maintenance, based on there's a percent of people they know that do a second or third purchase with Mercedes. The average price of the car that they purchase, right? My point is you need to know how much each customer or student is worth. But like any business in the world, people are not going to go to a business because there's options to get more money out of the customer, as long as it's a choice of the customer. There's not a dealership on earth, not on earth, that you can go to and it's one price for one kind of car and that's it. There's not a hotel on earth where you can go and all the rooms are the same, right? I mean, now some people go, what about all the inclusive resorts where they're all, you know what I'm saying? You go to a typical hotel. What do you want? The city view? Do you want the ocean view? Do you want a suite? Do you want, my point is, but nobody gets offended. It's like, if you want it, it's here. If you want it, you don't need it, but it's here, right? My point is this industry, that is the biggest roadblock in this industry. Most of us in the industry of martial arts equate growth and scalability and revenue by more students, but you can only have so many students in one building, right? You might as well have the opportunity to maximize by providing value to drive that value of each customer, each student up by offering them opportunities or options, right? So, and by the way, again, not forcing it, meaning you can't get a black belt in our school unless you pay us more money and upgrade. That is not the right way to do it. That's a forced. That's not an option, right? If I join martial arts, guys, every one of your students, if somebody joins martial arts, they're not joining hoping they just get to a yellow belt so they can quit, right? I mean, most of them think they want to do martial arts and, well, what belt would you like to get to if you join martial arts? Most people say black belt, beyond. I mean, I don't know, but my point is, well, if you get them in and then once they're in, you say, well, you can't go any further unless you pay us more money. That's a force, right? You got to create value options for your customers, and that is what will exponentially grow your business.
Yeah. And then, by the way, you also need to, you can have the 3 columns, which are great, and you can work on all 3 of those things, and you should, right? To be clear, we always need new students, right? We always need revenue, and we always need to keep the students that we have. However, for a lot of us, it can feel like spinning plates if you don't know the areas and what needs to be fixed, right? And if you're just doing what you think you need to do, like, hey, we're going to keep on, we just need to get 10 more students, 10 more students, 10 more students, right? And in some cases, and I've said this hundreds of times now, right? Like, we have a client, well, we have several of them, right? But they get like 50 new students a month, right? And I say that to you to ask, would you like to have that school, right? And then the question is well, the answer always is, man, you know how my life would be different if I have 50 new students every single month. Like, what is this guy doing? What are they doing? But if I told you that they have a 10% attrition rate, right? And with 500 students, and you start to look at that and you're like, well, geez, actually closer to 600 students. Well, you're losing 55 to 60 students a month, but you're signing up 50 a month. So in the big scheme of things, is that a successful school? Well, 100% it is. But I'm not going to focus necessarily all my efforts on recruitment or even potentially revenue, because the revenue's coming in. If I could, and this is going to be maybe be mind boggling to some of you, right? But in that school with between 500 and 600 students, if all we did was get attrition from 10% to 7%, which is still a horrible attrition rate, by the way, or I should say a horrible retention rate, but just 3% different. Do you all understand 3% of 500 students means you're keeping 15 students per month every month? That's 180 students a year times $200 student value. Going into month 13, do you realize that would generate an extra $36,000 a month in revenue? A month. If that's what you, this is not how a lot of us think, right? And so, what can we do to enroll more people? What can we do to enroll more people? What can we do to generate more revenue? And nobody, or a lot of people, don't understand how increasing your retention by just 1% is a huge revenue center in your school. And so the question is, where are you focusing your time, effort, and energy? Are you focusing on, hey, we got a student value? This is why when we take a client on, what we do first, right? This is not a plug for Maya, but I'm just telling you what we do, and you can go back and look at it. The first thing we're going to do is, do we have the right systems in place, the foundational systems in place, right? Do we have the right pricing structure, as an example, right? Do we have the right programs in place? Do we have the right schedule in place? Those are the core things that we do, and the big rocks, if you will. And once we know we have those things in place, we know when I always like the Plinko game on Price is Right. Remember that game? Like, you drop the thing down. Well, if you knew the chip was going to drop into the 1,000 every time, right? Like, that's a great system. But sometimes the Plinko chip drops into the 5, sometimes drops into 15. We want that Plinko chip to drop down, so at the bottom we know this is the student value that we are spitting out. How do we do that? By fixing the base systems. Then let's go get new people and put them into this new system that we have, which, again, for a lot of you are very, very close, so you don't even realize how close you are to having a huge impact in your business. You know, it's interesting, Mets. I brought this up to you the other night as well, right? The concept of temporary. And we it was used, I think, in the context of potentially having great months, success, a full-time staff. Like, a lot of that sometimes is temporary. But you want to know what else is temporary? And this should be very, very motivating for all of you that are struggling right now. Because also, what's temporary is struggle. If you just decide that you want to put the work in, you want to put the time in, and you want to go after it, that's temporary. And I go back to when I first started as a client, and I was doing just under $250,000 a year in gross revenue. And the first year, 12 months, I generated an extra $110,000, right? So we went from 250,000 to 360,000 in 12 months because we made some adjustments. What would you do with an extra $110,000 in your business, right? The next year, by the way, we went from 360 to 440,000. We had six-figure jumps for 5 years, 6 years in a row. So when we say things are temporary, from a success standpoint, they can be very temporary, and if we're not careful, can slip away from us. But also, if we've not made it, or things potentially have slipped away from us, that also can be temporary, because now you can put the work in to get back to where you need to be. And so hopefully that's motivational for some of you. Like, like, hey, I just got to get out of this rut. And if I could just, man, if I could just bring in an extra $2,000 a month, that would be all the difference in the world, right? We sometimes potentially can lose the value of a dollar. And what'll $2,000 a month do for you, or $3,000 a month do for you? In some cases, it might be a mortgage payment, a rent payment, a car payment, or it could be a lot of things for you. And sometimes maybe we take that for granted. but what could you do to go generate an extra $3,000 a month, and what would that do for you, whether it's your business or your personal life? Um, and that's it's a lot of money in one hand, right, on one side, and then the other side, well, it's not a lot of money. But when you keep things in perspective, I think it's important to do that. And this is the great news. If you don't like the situation you're in right now, then it's temporary. Go make a difference and fix it. If you like the position you're in right now, understand that it's temporary. Go continue to put in the work, effort, and energy so that you can maintain that position that you're in, so it doesn't slip out of your fingers.
Yeah, and that's what drives Silverman and myself, right? We just will always assume this can go away. And that's what drives us to continue to scale, continue to adapt, and continue to innovate, to continue to grow. I
Yep.
mean, it's just we got to continue growing the business. And I think that's why we've come as far as we've come, is out of fear of failure or losing, right? That motivates us. Keep pushing, man. I mean, we've talked about it before. Silverman had somebody ask him, and I've had it asked. They asked us, well, when's enough enough? And it's never enough for us. It's never enough. That's driving us, right? But it's
Right.
also never enough because there's always the next person in line that I want to provide an unbelievable opportunity for in a career in the martial arts, financially and with work life balance. And I got to make sure I can do both. I got to have a path for people to get both.
Right.
Financial is one thing, but there's not an amount of money you can pay me to go start doing roofing in Florida. Like there's just not enough money. There's zero. I mean,
I don't even think there's an amount of money that you could pay you to go door to door to sell roofing.
there is not. There is not. So it's not just, but that's the same thing, right?
Right. Right.
But when I was 20, maybe there was, right? But even at 20, I would have been like, I can't keep doing this, right? But some people get that way when they're tied to the mat and they start having families and they're never home for dinner, right? But that's what it takes. It's okay. You can do that for 10 years, 15 years if you know there's another level, if you know that there's another step to that. But what if there's no sight? There's no step in sight. It's
Right.
like, man, okay, I'm making money. I got a house now, I got a car. I'm doing well financially, but gosh, this is getting like I can't be home at 5:30 or 6 o'clock for my. I can't go to a baseball game or a practice for my kid, or so it starts to creep in, right? So now that's not given either. That's earned. That's
Right.
another thing. That's not given. That's earned. But even as an owner, it's earned. You gotta bust your ass to create those opportunities. By the way, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. But I say if you're going to do something, do it better than everyone else. I mean, period. I mean, but maybe you're fulfilled. The problem is you're fulfilled until it starts to crumble or gets tiring. It's like if you want to eat fried foods every day, you could do that. It's so good. Fried foods, desserts, it's great. I'm fulfilled. I'm happy. I love eating that shit. Until one day you wake up and you have horrible chest pain and you're having a heart attack. Now you want to do something about it, right? And you might be 50, 60, 70 years old. But let's get ahead of it. Same thing in business. It's like you might think all is good until it's not, right? And when you start doing these ebbs and flows, every business have ebbs and flows. The biggest companies in the world, Apple has ebbs and flows, Amazon ebbs and flows. I mean, they all have ebbs and flows. The difference is when you have a downside, are you still great and still fine? Nobody's getting laid off right now. Like we're still good, right? We're okay, but we got to get out of it. Most of this industry, when you have a down, rent's got to be paid late. I'm not going to take a paycheck, right? So just get ahead of it. How do you do that? You sign up for my elite.
That's right. There you go.
Done. You make your list, you plan, and you get ahead of it. And you got to learn to be proactive in the things that you don't necessarily want to do. But you got to tailor it to your own school and your own results that you get. And you got to track stats. I mean, that is That is the best way to maximize growth, right? So there it is, Tess. That's all I got today, man.
Good. Me too. I got to go, limp around, get some more work done. Yeah, we're rolling up the sleeves, man. I've been excited the last couple of days of what we've been getting done and getting accomplished. So it's been fun.
Good.
It's always a good time.
Yeah, we got to put the work in. So, hey, thank you guys. And listen, would love to see, we say it every week or every 2 weeks or whenever we're on, but would love to see this industry really thrive. And a lot of you are. A lot of you are. Um, and by the way, if you're happy and comfortable, great. But there's a lot of you that are not. And it's a struggle. Give us a call. Call someone that can help you because
Right.
don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Okay. So we appreciate you. And Tass, I'll touch base.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. We'll
Yeah.
talk later. Appreciate everybody being on here. We'll, if you guys, like I said, he said it. If you guys need help, we're here for you. Let us know. Happy to help however we can.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great